shop. So day 4, today we're going to go over the results accelerator strategy. Excuse me, results accelerator strategy. So if you want to start to get some results sooner rather than later, this is for you. All right, JJ, doing great. Really recognizing it takes lots of time to determine all the food reactions. Yeah, it can be, I liken it to a dance. Because sometimes if you're eating, let's be honest, we eat more than one thing, right? We got a protein, maybe a couple of side dishes. And so if you're having any reactions, you got to differentiate, is it one of those foods, or it can also be a combination of the two together. I'll give you an example. If you were to get blood tests done to see where your food intolerances are, the most popular one, there's a Dunwoody, and then there's Cyrex. And so Cyrex, it's like you usually do more than one because they're testing different foods. And so the Cyrex would tell you red, you have a reaction to this. Yellow, well, your immune system flared off a low response, and then green is no response whatsoever, meaning your immune system didn't trigger that this is a foreign body and to get rid of it. When it comes to the yellow, even the Cyrex study will say, well, do you have symptoms with those foods? Because if you don't have symptoms with those foods, chances are you can still eat that food. Because it just mounted a little low reaction. But here's the thing, if you have two yellows, meaning you have two foods that are flaring off a low reaction and you eat them together, that can flare off a bigger reaction. So sometimes we have these yellow foods, and in my academy, we even differentiate between, okay, this food by itself is fine, but these two together, ooh, not so much. We even differentiate food combinations. Yeah, absolutely, Tina, there may still be foods that might not be the best for you because we can go through seasons of life where all of a sudden we're having issues with certain foods. A lot of it has to do with leaky gut. Actually, that was part of our lesson last night in the academy, is talking about leaky gut, or Tuesday night. And some of that can be, hormone shifting. So it depends. And also, if you have any significant health issues like any autoimmune, oftentimes your body will trigger different things just because your immune system is so hyperactive because it's fighting against itself. So it'll often see some things that are flaring up because it's just freaking out overall with that. Great awareness. So I often say awareness is a first step because you cannot change, tweak, or modify anything that you're not aware of. So awareness is always the first step. It's always the first. Thank you so much for sharing. So let me get to my slides and let's talk about the accelerator. The results accelerator method with today's session. Don't forget, replays are available until Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. If you're in a different time zone, you don't know what time that is, just simply Google that, what time would be for you. So let's see how we can accelerate the results. But first, don't forget, applications are still open for the 2-day deep dive intensive, Revitalize and Reclaim. It is a virtual event. It is a small group, high mentorship, high coaching over the course of 2 days. It is limited to 10 women because I keep them small so I can have an opportunity to coach all of you. And when it's full, it's full. You can either copy the QR code, or I do have the link. Let me post the link in the comment section for you. It's free for first-time attendees only. For those who want to come back, there is a fee involved with that. All right, so the past couple of days, so day 1, we talked about reframing success and how can we look at success? So yeah, we want to improve our health and release weight, but we also have to look at some other things when it comes to that. What is driving that? And I mentioned I look at the root cause. What is driving those issues? Yes, it can definitely be something physical, but sometimes it's emotional, mental, spiritual, or all of the above. And so we're looking at the physical this week, specifically when it comes to nourishment. And then day 2, we talked about really diving deep into what is your personalized eating method? What are the foods that are best for your body? What are your power foods? Because remember, I don't call them good foods or bad foods. I call them power foods, foods that your body thrives on, gives you tons of energy, no, helps you decrease your inflammation, balances your blood sugar, no issues whatsoever. And then pleasure foods, foods that aren't the best for your body, but we like to eat them because we enjoy them. And so you, as the CEO of your health and your body, gets to determine when and if you want to have those pleasure foods and how much. And yesterday we went over the dietless weight release system, 3 shifts to stop fighting your body. I went over to 3. I have 4 moves in my academy, but yesterday we talked about 3 shifts. And today the results accelerator method. And for those who have taken this workshop in the past, when they implement all of the strategies together, they release up to 5 pounds in 5 days. So the 5 rates, based on my own journey, I determined that there are 5 rates to success when it comes to not only releasing weight, but keeping it off and getting healthy. Because if you have health issues, it can prevent you from releasing the weight, and weight can also increase health issues. So it's not just we're releasing the weight, you're actually improving your health as well, getting to your optimal health and healthy weight. Has to be the right nourishment. What foods are best for your body? Most women are nutritionally deficient or low because they're overfed but undernourished because they're not eating foods for their body. Then you have to have the right movement for your body. You have to move your body. You can't be sitting on your butt all day, every day. You got to move your body. Then you have to have the right environment externally and internally. Externally, what are you exposed to on the daily? I can't remember exact number, but something like it's at least over 100. It might be over 200. Women are exposed to over 100 different toxins and chemicals by the time they start their day. Meaning, take your shower, what you're drinking, what you're eating before you even leave the house to start your day. Then you have to have the right hormonal balance. It's not just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. It is leptin, ghrelin, cortisol, insulin, human growth hormone, your adrenals, your adrenal hormones. They all impact your health and your weight way before you hit the perimenopause stage of life. And then if they're not, if these first 4, nourishment, movement, environment, and hormone balance, are not in a position where you can thrive when you do hit those seasons of life, perimenopause, menopause, you're hit very hard with the symptoms as those other hormones start to shift. And then most importantly, I got to change the slide. I don't like mindset. I just don't like the mindset because it's more than just positive affirmations. It's more than just, thinking positively, because let's be honest, there are people who think positively and do positive affirmations but not getting the results that they want. Right? It's the right mind, where you're reprogramming your unconscious mind to get you what you want and not giving you more of what you don't want, because the unconscious mind's sole role is to keep you alive. It's to make sure you survive. It doesn't differentiate if this way is not healthy and this way is healthy. It just says past experience proves you don't die from this. And so when circumstances that are very similar to that come into play, which is why if you ever done really well and then you're like wait, no, not comfortable, I don't like this, and you go back to those old patterns, and then you start again, you're all gung ho, and all of a sudden something happens in your life, it may be a stress event, and then you're like, nope, too uncomfortable, don't have time, go back here. That's why, because your unconscious mind, and you don't know about it because it's all on the unconscious level, subconscious level. You're not consciously thinking of this. You just know, oh my gosh, I just fell off the bandwagon again. I gained 20 pounds overnight. What's going on? Your unconscious mind is keeping you in survival mode because for some reason it's perceiving that if you get to your optimal health and healthy weight, you might die. And when I first learned about this, I'm like, well, I kind of chuckle, like, really? Like, that doesn't make sense. But no, to the unconscious mind, you haven't proven that you've survived it. So years of when you're like, I'm talking young, teenage, 20s, like all of that builds up to the unconscious mind. It's binary, yes, no, hot, cold, healthy, not healthy. Current reality, future reality. And so the actions that you take on the daily, you're filling up one of those jars. Healthy, not healthy. Stay in this current reality or go to what I want and the results. Which is why as high as 95 to 98% of women who do release weight and improve their health within 6 months or less are back to where they started, because this has been programmed to keep you in the status quo. And that's what the majority of the academy works on, is this right here. So once again, we're determining what is the right nourishment for your unique body. It isn't just about eating clean, because let's be honest, like we all have our own definition of eating clean: fruits, vegetables, lean protein. But even within that eating clean realm, because I work with a lot of women, they come to me are like, I'm eating really clean. I'm like, yeah, on the outside it looks like it, but it might not be clean for you. It might not be healthy for you. And are you getting enough nourishment with that? Are you eating enough for your body? I look at what's optimal. The numbers look differently, and hopefully the food pyramid will change pretty quickly. I'm all for that, because the food pyramid as it stands is very sad. Our standard American diet is very sad. And then, is your blood sugar balanced? And it's not just if you're eating a lot of sugar, if you're eating food that's not right for your body, that causes a stress response. When you're in a stress response, cortisol is released in your body, and cortisol signals to your body to release more sugar into your bloodstream. Now your sugar is high. And because a stress response is designed to, we either fight it or run away from it, that naturally turns off the stress response. Well, with food, we're not like running away from food or fighting food, like physically, and we don't know it's a food intolerance, but a stress response is now in play. Oftentimes it leads to a chronic stress response, leading to very difficult to release weight and to get your optimal health. And then any nutritional deficiencies come into play as well. So if you're just joining me for the first time today, it's okay. You got time to watch the replay. I am Pamela Pedrick. I'm also known as a dietless dieting coach, and busy women come to me when they are ready to ditch the constant yo-yo dieting, the weight regain, and the low energy, and they want natural and holistic solutions that are designed for their own unique bodies. They don't want any more cookie cutter programs. And when we work together, we help them to get what are their foods that are best for their body. We actually go through the 5 rights, and they easily, effortlessly release the weight. They get fit, healthy, and free, and peace comes into play. No more food noise. Yes, I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. I will be watching the game tonight. I will be 51 in January. So yes, this is what 50 looks like. I am a failed dieter. I've done tons of diets, tons of them. You name it, I probably did it. I remember at one point in my senior year in college, can't remember what college days. I went home on Christmas break, came back second semester, and I found this new diet, the new and improved one, right? Take these fat burners and just eat tuna fish. Which is why I didn't eat tuna fish for quite a long time, because I was burnt out on eating that. So now I am a leader in the diet-free movement. And if you're ever on LinkedIn, that's where I usually hang out the most on social media. I will call out the whole dieting-ish. All right, so today, let's get some results going. Let's talk about sugar consumption and its impact. And it's not just the sugar that you put in your food or in your drinks. And sugar is a pleasure food for everyone. There's nothing powerful about sugar, because it will cause fat, inflammation, difficult to release the weight. It shifts hormones. It causes insulin imbalances. And let's talk about sugar. So it's not just if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic. By the way, the numbers are different. I look at numbers differently when it comes to your metabolic panel, when it comes to, are you trending toward diabetes or not? And I can actually see it sooner than traditional, because I look at numbers a whole lot differently. So if you don't understand exactly what sugar is, this is some foundational, like sugar 101. Sugar is what's called a simple carbohydrate. It's found in a lot of foods and drinks. Simple meaning it doesn't need to do anything else to give you a hit of sugar. Boom. I'll give you an example. yesterday or the day before, I talked about a family member who just got a continuous glucometer. Talked about the coffee. Happened again. Ding, ding, ding. I'm like, your sugar's going high, isn't it? I know the alarm's on the glucometer. She's like, yep. I said, and that arrow right there means it's trending up fast. I said, so you'll probably get another alarm. Oh, well, I just had coffee with my creamer. because it was a sugar creamer. And yeah, so it hits the bloodstream a lot faster. Excessive sugar intake is linked to various health issues, heart issues with women. Women will be in the month of February soon, and it's called National Heart Month, not just because it's Valentine's Day, but it's to bring heart disease awareness to women because it is the number one reason why women die, heart disease. And so sugar, and it's interesting because when I talk to my clients who are diabetic, pre-diabetic, and we have the conversation about sugar, they'll be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember my doctor told me about this with linking to heart disease because I'll have heart issues, but they never kind of re-educated. It's like, oh, I kind of got this. Sugar will lead to this because it's the whole inflammatory response causing micro tears in your arteries, but that's a whole other issue. But it's linked to heart disease, diabetes, definitely, obesity, a lot of chronic illnesses that we see today. And if you have autoimmune, it causes more exacerbations and flare-ups with autoimmune. So today, let's dive into how it impacts inflammation, hormones, and overall wellness. So here's what happens. Sugar triggers the release of inflammatory compounds in the body. The body goes, ooh, I don't like this in your system. What is going on? And so the more you overindulge in sugar, then now chronic inflammation comes into play. Inflammation is the number one driver of dis-ease in the body. It does damage the tissues. And in fact, I got a graphic of what goes on there and poor health. And so if you are consuming a lot of sugar, and I'm talking about, going on years, it will lead to insulin resistance, which is why when women hit perimenopause, we see the insulin resistance as well because hormones are shifting, but because of lifestyle changes, and you don't know what you don't know, you've been hit a long time. What happens is your body will start to overcompensate and throw out more insulin because it knows from past behavior that you tend to overindulge in sugar. So then the pancreas just gets to a point of throwing out more insulin. And now we've got months, potentially years of this going on, and then your body just becomes resistant to it. It's not working. And now you have these issues of blood sugar instability as well going on. Yeah, Tina is right. Sugar is it's a drug. It is. It's a drug. It's an outright drug. And I can speak to that because I used to be addicted to sugar because it works on your same receptors on your brain as cocaine does. Yeah. So this risk increases your risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease and other health issues. It's got the whole inflammatory response going on in the body. And this is a little diagram here, okay? So in the middle is the liver, okay? To the right is your pancreas. Those are the two main organs that are significantly impacted by years of overindulging in sugar. And then, so the pancreas throws out the insulin. That's the pancreas main thing. We got to put out insulin because we got blood sugar. So here's what happens in the body. In order for sugar to get into the cells, it needs what I call VIP access. It cannot get, so think of your cells as like the new and upcoming like club in your neighborhood, right? That you don't have access to. That's sugar. Sugar does not have access to the cells. It can't just go in by itself. It needs a VIP to say, hey, you're good. This good people. Let them into the club. That's insulin. Insulin signals to your cell, hey, I'm bringing in a visitor. It's all good. Let them in. So sugar needs insulin to get into your cells. So if you don't have enough insulin in your body, you got high blood sugar, type 2 diabetes, your pancreas has been damaged and it's not throwing out not enough insulin. Type 1, your pancreas is done. It's not throwing out anything, okay? So now like get into the club. But after years of your pancreas working overtime, and now it's just throwing out more insulin because it knows from past experience you're just eating tons of sugar, which is not just sugar in and of itself. It's also those simple carbs that turn right to sugar, like your chips, your potato chips, and your breads and your starches as well. After years of that, your pancreas goes, I'm too tired. And your body goes, huh? It's like the boy that cried wolf. It's like, okay, I've got the insulin, but, I'm done. Your body's not responding appropriately. So then it causes fire. It's been causing fire all along. That's your inflammatory response. That's your inflammatory response. And then it causes more fat cells in your body. Yeah, it's a whole host of things that come into play when you overconsume sugar because it leads to inflammation and insulin resistance. So that was a diagram. Now here it is in words. So consuming sugary foods and drinks, it includes your blood sugar goes high. Okay. So when it goes high, this could be from food intolerance as well, not just sugar. This is what happens with food intolerances. It signals to the pancreas to release insulin. Okay. To regulate blood sugar, right? We got all the sugar in the bloodstream. We got to get it into the cells. Boom, come on, insulin, right? Pancreas, work with me, throw out some more insulin. So once again, insulin helps the cells, the sugar get into the cells for energy, or if you don't need it right away, to store it and then to create fat cells. But high sugar leads to overproduction of insulin. Excessive sugar and insulin over time create a state of chronic inflammation in the body, affecting tissues and organs, specifically the liver and the pancreas take a huge hit with this, which is why I often see women on the verge of fatty liver, because it's this whole process right here. And then the body cells are less responsive to insulin because it's been exposed so much to insulin. It's like, oh, we don't need all this insulin. And so it's like anytime it throws out insulin now, your body goes, oh, well, you've always thrown out too much, so we're not even going to use it. And then it can damage vital organs such as the pancreas and the liver, the two ones. Okay. And the liver stores and processes sugar. So now you got fatty liver, excess fat on the body. You've got a systemic or chronic inflammatory response, meaning your whole body is inflamed. Even neuroinflammation, cognitive decline, brain very foggy. Okay. So here's a recommended sugar intake for women, less than 25 grams, which is 6 teaspoons of sugar a day. Now it says added sugar, but it's actually sugar total a day. It can add up very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. So ever so often, I just kind of check in with myself because I'm like, all right, how much in my condiments? And then I'll start measuring just to see where I'm at. So I'm like, okay, this has 4 teaspoons per serving size. What's a serving size? This has so many teaspoons per serving size because we're not in metric here in the US. And so it can quickly add up. Now, on the packages, it'll be labeled as grams, but when we're putting it in our food and our beverages, which is why I put it's 6 teaspoons of sugar. Do you know how much sugar is in just a can of soda? 12 teaspoons in a can of soda. Do you know how much sugar is in flavored milk that the kids are getting in school, like the strawberry milk and chocolate milk? It's almost as much a can of soda. So hidden sugars are found in the coffee creamers, which my family member is starting to recognize right now. Flavored yogurts are big. Oh my goodness, lots of sugar. Protein bars. This was like years ago, probably like 6-7 years ago, where I was at an event and they didn't have like a breakfast service, but they were like, okay, let's at least give you a little something to eat. So they held all these different kind of granola bars, protein bars, and different kind of breakfast bars in the middle of the table. So as I'm looking through them, I'm like, I know it's going to happen. I went to the package that appeared to be the healthiest because it's the marketing, right? Appeared to be the healthiest. I looked in the back. It had more sugar than the one that you would think would be the most, that it's not the healthiest. And I was comparing it to. So even though it might have all the key phrases of like, low calorie or gluten free or this or that, you got to look at your package labels because you might be surprised at how much sugar is in what you're eating. Good. Awesome. That's good news, Karen. That's for sure.
Yeah, but Pam, Pamela, they're starting 10 years from now in
Yeah,
2035. Why not right away?
exactly. And here's the thing, because it's money. Just to be honest, because it's like, and it's interesting because if you live in Canada, I think we have a couple of Canadians here. I have friends in Canada, we meet once a week, as a mastermind, and I'm like, so tell me about your cereals and your foods. They're like, oh, it's all the colored with vegetables and fruit, like natural dyes, not the dyes in here. And I'm like, do you feel like you're paying more for your cereal over there? She goes, no. It's quite interesting, the conversations with people who live in countries that have been doing this for years, clean, healthy living. Yeah. Because once again, back in the 50s, it was that bliss point with the sugar. Bliss point, because it was all about money back then. And I don't know if it was Kellogg or it was one of those. You just Google bliss point. There's a guy who figured out that there's a certain bliss point between too much sugar people don't eat and just enough. So they keep buying, and basically people get addicted to it. Sauces and dressings, dressings too. Look at your salad dressings as well. There's the big ones. It's in milk. If you're drinking skim milk, basically, that's sugar water to me because there's no fat to compensate for this. So where's sugar high? So these are some common everyday items that you might be consuming. Okay. The amount of sugar in grams, I mentioned it's 10 teaspoons for this one, but cup of vanilla yogurt, 7.5, 30 grams, you're already over 25 grams for the day. Candy bar, Snickers used to be my go-to. Well, that was 27. And since we're in the pumpkin spice right now, right? October, a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks is 55 grams of sugar. Yeah, 55 grams of sugar right there. So look at your labels because you might be surprised that there's more sugar in there than you had anticipated. Had a graduate from my academy, Nancy, and she came to me because she's like, my joints are really hurting and I've gained like 15 pounds. And she's like, I just don't know what's going on. So we had the sugar conversation. She goes, I eat pretty healthily, and I don't know what's going on. So when we had the whole sugar conversation, she spent 2 hours in the grocery store because she was reading every single food label before she put it in her cart. And she said, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much sugar was in everyday foods that she was eating, things that she would stock up on for her cabinets, right? And talk about the pastas, the breads, the crackers that are marketed as healthy. But when you look at the sugar content, yeah. And I do see your question. So it comes into your 25 grams. All sugar comes into your 25 grams. But the first step, if you're like, oh my gosh, that's too hard for me, because I was well over 100 grams, is I just decreased my intake. Because I was a big coffee drinker. I was in survival mode, working a very busy ER. So instead of going for the venti, I went down to a grande. Because at least I knew that was decreasing my sugar intake without me going. I've done cold turkey before of coffee and of caffeine and sugar. As someone who was addicted to sugar, I don't recommend that because I was sick as a dog. I was detoxing so hard and so fast. So next time around, I just weaned myself slowly off of it. Cup of orange juice. You're like, orange juice is healthy. 21 grams of sugar. Yeah. Why? It's because it doesn't have the fiber to make sure that you're offsetting that spike in your blood sugar too. Ketchup, 4 grams. Yeah, it can add up quickly. Here's another diagram for you. Coffee creamer, that's traditional coffee creamer. Granola bar, fruit yogurt, candy bar, soda. Yeah, you can kind of see the trend here. I need to add the skim milk on that one. All right, so sugar-free creamers, but the offset of that is they have artificial sweeteners, which will definitely increase inflammation, and research shows makes you crave sugar. All right, now so you get to see. I did creamers just because there's a lot of people who drink coffee, and I had to go through this myself. I had to go through, okay, instead of white sugar, I went to coconut sugar, coconut palm sugar. And at least I was like getting some, there are nutrients in coconut sugar, but still you got to, it's that whole, I was trending down to make sure I was going to the 25-gram mark. Yeah. No, stevia is not artificial. It's a sugar alternative. Stevia and monk fruit are natural, but you have to get the ones that are not cut with erythritol because that is artificial. It's people will say it's not, but it is because it does cause inflammation and GI issues. Yeah, you do. You have to read your labels. Yeah. Read your labels on everything because it can be in what you don't think it's in. Erythritol, yes. Erythritol in stevia and monk fruit. Like it'll say like the Now brand, it's organic. They don't cut their thing. They don't cut monk fruit and stevia with erythritol, but there are other brands that do. You just look on the ingredients. Because erythritol is a sugar alcohol, and it can cause GI issues and inflammation in the body. All right, so here are some things. If you're just starting out, here are some swaps, okay? Do herbal tea instead of reaching for soda, sweetened coffees, or a juice. You can add some stevia or monk fruit to it if you need a little bit of sweetness. Drink water, sparkling water with lemon, unsweetened herbal teas. Or you can do what I did because I was eating tons of sugar. I just went from a venti or large to a medium or grande. And then after a couple weeks of that, then I went down to the smallest size. And then I started changing things up. Like I didn't do it cold turkey because my past experience was my body went through huge withdrawal symptoms. So I weaned it off, which is small steps still get you to the top. Okay. Oftentimes when you're making these huge changes and then you start to go through those withdrawal symptoms, it's not fun. You start to feel sick and you're like, man, I might as well just go. That was me back then. I might as well just go back eating the crap because I feel worse than when I was eating the crap. Because the body's great at compensating and you feel, and sometimes it feels normal to feel like crap. You don't know what it feels like to feel like having the energy and healthy in your body. But there is a process to get there because you need to offload when it comes to sugar because it is a toxin. Whole fruits contain fiber. So you want whole fruits over fruit juices, and look with your dried fruits because oftentimes they will add sugar to it. Craisins is an example. So we're coming up to Happy Thanksgiving for those in Canada, by the way. Thanksgiving this weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. For us in the US, it's November, but craisins are often used during the fall time, which is cranberries, but they've also been soaked in sugar. Look at your sugar content on craisins next time you're in the grocery store. It's appalling how much sugar is in there. Do a fresh apple or berries are great choices to sweeten your sweet tooth without the spike of sugar. So to start, my challenge for you is start reading your food labels if you haven't already. And sometimes when, yeah, that's right. You got to look at how you feel too. Dates are fine. So once again, when it comes to the natural fruits, because fructose is a sugar, it still falls within the realm of the 25 grams. You just got to look at it like that. Yeah. And then don't eat your fruit naked. Okay. Make sure you have a protein or a healthy fat with it because that'll prevent it from spiking, especially if it's a fruit that doesn't have a whole lot of fiber in it. Like watermelon, OMG, my sugar spiked. Watermelon for me is just like sugar water. My sugar spikes significantly. So I have to really decrease the amount of watermelon to make sure I have a protein or healthy fat so my blood sugar doesn't spike. And I'm not diabetic or pre-diabetic. I just got a continuous glucometer because I wanted to see what foods were making my whole metabolic panel look a little out of sync with that. Awesome. So once again, small steps, okay? Small steps. Gradually reduce the sugar intake. So a good way to do that is like what I did, like cut my portions down, but also just look at the added sugar. Can we at least cut out the added sugar from what you're eating? You know, I'm talking about those foods that you buy in the store that it has natural sugar in it, but then it has all these added sugar like high fructose corn syrup solids. I was in the grocery store the other day and I was just looking at the sugar content, and then I read the ingredients, and it had, no lie, 5 different types of sugar in it. I'm like, no wonder that sugar content's so high on that. And also, you do need to read your labels because even when food brands come out with like a newer I can't remember which brand this was. It was whoever makes the Triscuits, right? So back when, before I realized I was gluten intolerant, Triscuits were a go-to snack for me. Three ingredients, just three ingredients. Well, then they came out with marketing as a healthier version, all the key phrases, right? Gluten-free, keto-friendly, all of this. I'm like, all right, low carb. I did not read the label. It was on my way out. I'm like, yeah, let me try these crackers. So later that night, I was getting hungry. Oh, let me eat these crackers I just got. And I had such a bad headache from them. And when I looked at the ingredients, I'm like, oh my gosh, the ingredient list was like triple the size of Triscuits, which just had three ingredients. So oftentimes the original is healthier than the one that's marketed as healthy. Yeah, that one got me. I said it got me because I didn't read my labels, but it was marketed as health as a healthier option to Triscuits. So even when food products come out with the latest and greatest, and they always track trends of what's going on in the health and wellness industry, the food industry does. They're not stupid. They know how to make a buck or a billion. So when keto came back out again like 5 or 7 years ago, then all of a sudden you started to see the marketing shift to keto friendly on all their packaging, right? All their packaging. Because it used to be low calorie, fat free, like they still do that. Because back in the early 80s, right, it was all about low calorie, low fat. So they put low fat. And it's interesting. You'll see this on Twizzlers. No lie. Next time you go grocery shopping, don't buy them. But Twizzlers, it says naturally fat free. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, it's full of sugar. Why? It's because when people are on the eat low fat, they're looking for those things. But the sugar is what makes you fat. It's like, all right, let's get her. Yeah, non-GMO. Yeah, non-GMO. So just because it says gluten-free does not necessarily say more for me or that's healthy. I have to really look at those labels, especially if it's a brand that I normally don't buy because it can be a junky gluten um, option. All right, substitute with natural sweeteners, stevia, monk fruit, or smaller amounts of raw honey or even maple syrup. Okay. So it won't spike your sugar as much. And if you want something like a treat dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa is much better option than milk chocolate. Okay. Because it has less sugar and dark chocolate is full of a lot of minerals that women, if you're still menstruating, you lose each month. Copper, zinc, selenium, magnesium, we lose that through our monthly flow. So I was watching a doctor years ago, and he's like, so ladies, 5 days before you're due to start your period, eat a square of dark chocolate a day because that'll keep you from craving the sugar from all those cravings. I'm like, it makes absolute sense because we're replacing what we're losing. And it has lots of great benefits to it. So you don't want to overdo it. Just one little square is enough. Just FYI. I had a client that I was working with, and we were working her and her blood sugar, and so her go-to, because it was her pleasure food, was the dark chocolate, and she goes, I have one little square a day for dark chocolate. All right, so small steps can yield big results. Limit processed snacks and desserts, okay? They're often packed with hidden sugars. Opt for homemade or whole food alternatives like nuts, seeds, yogurt with fresh fruit. So you can buy the non-flavored yogurt and add your fruit and berries to it because then you are controlling how much sugar is in there and what sugar is in there too. Help curb cravings in a healthier way. So add fats and protein to meals. Like I said, don't eat, especially when it comes to fruit, don't eat fruit naked. Have a healthy fat or protein with it. But once again, making sure that these are foods your body thrives on because your body might not like eggs, so don't do the eggs. Your body might not like avocado, so don't do the avocado. Like me, like avocado is my go-to. I mean, avocado, you got a three for you got healthy fat, healthy protein, and you got healthy fiber in avocado in that fruit. It is a fruit technically. With that, all right. So. But lasting weight loss requires just more than nourishment. Remember, I showed you my 5 rights. We got to have the right movement for your body, the right environment, the right hormonal balance, specifically insulin, because we went a lot into insulin today. Cortisol, human growth hormone. Okay, you deserve more than just a one size fits all approach, which is if you ever done those one size fits all approaches, going on the webinars, going on, the challenges, the boot camps, like they see you as the same as everyone else. It doesn't take into account your own bio individuality because you're in your body, you're unique. So your metabolism's different, your food sensitivities are different. So you got to find what fuels your body and stay consistent with it. You need to address your hormones, your lifestyle, your stress. It all comes into play. So with this workshop, when you are eating for your body, like the cravings naturally significantly decrease, your inflammation lowers and keeps lowering and keeps lowering, and you're offloading toxins and chemicals which come into play with your toxic burden. Naturally offloads because you're releasing the fat. Your pancreas goes, oh, I can take a break and not work out so much. The body can heal. Okay, type 1 diabetics can't. The pancreas is damaged. It can't heal, but you can heal as a type 2 diabetic, pre-diabetic, your pancreas, and you're no longer in that insulin resistance, hyperglycemic. You can definitely achieve lasting weight loss. So here are some of my graduates of my program. See, Gina, even though she released 5 pounds, her story is a lot deeper than that because she was dealing with low energy for years. She had autoimmune issues that would flare up. She was binge eating and she was just surviving. In fact, her body could only do one activity after work: get a shower, cook dinner, clean the house. She would always have to cancel plans with her family because she just didn't feel well. She was exhausted. She was sitting on the sidelines of her life as a grandmother to young children who wanted her to play soccer. She's like, I want to be able to do all these things, but I don't have the energy and I just don't feel well. See, on the outside, Gina looked well. She didn't look like she needed to release weight. She didn't look like she was binge eating. She didn't look like she had autoimmune issues, but she did. And so when we determine what foods her body thrived on, we work together because it can be a bit of a dance with subtle nuances. Is that she easily released the 5 pounds. She stopped binge eating. Her autoimmune symptoms significantly decreased. Her flare-ups were rare. But for her, she got her life back. Because she said, I can be the fun grandma and I'm playing soccer with my young grandkids now. I don't have to call up my daughter last minute saying, I'm sorry, honey, I can't go out with you today. And she said, you got to understand, when I realized I had the energy to do something else, she said, I literally cried. I was in tears because it was so many years since she was able to do that. And then there's Dawn. Dawn released 14 pounds in just 3 weeks. When I asked her, she's like, and it wasn't that hard. She goes, it wasn't that hard. Once we knew what to eat for her body, she's like, it was so easy and effortless. And she was an avid golfer. She and a group of her friends would go out golfing and golf tournaments. And she's like, my golf game improved because I'm more agile, I'm lighter. And her energy and focus improved. She goes, oh, and by the way, she's a real estate agent. She's like, oh, and by the way, even my focus at work and my performance too. Nancy, I talked about her earlier. When she looked at the sugar that was in her foods, and then we also worked on her within the foods she was currently eating, what are those foods that are best for her? She easily released 15 pounds. Her joints stopped aching and she was able to go back mountain biking with her husband. They would do like 20, 25 miles over the course of a weekend. That was their thing to do over the weekends. And Daniela released 25 pounds. She said goodbye to her cravings. Her brain fog cleared. She regained her mental clarity. And with her, she goes, I just have an attitude now that I can do it. That I can do it. So what would your life look like if you had clarity on exactly what to eat for your body? It was a no-brainer for you. Like, you don't have to second guess it. You don't have to overthink about it. How much time and energy are you willing to invest in finding sustainable solutions? Because are you done? How was your life like 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Are you still in the same position as you were then? What about last year? Are you still in the same position and you don't want to be in the same position? Yeah. So for me, I was like, I didn't want another birthday to pass with me being a failed dieter, me not knowing what to eat for my body, what would your life look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Do you want to, what's your vision life for your life? Do you have to put some things on the back burner of life that you really want to do because your health, your energy, your weight is not helping you to do that? In fact, it's preventing you. So imagine knowing exactly down to a T what fuels your body best. You're eating without guilt, confusion, overwhelm, stress. You're experiencing energy. You have confidence. You're sustaining those results. You're consistent. Yeah. So you need personalized strategies. You need it to fit into your life. You need to be able, when life's on you, to know exactly what to eat to fuel your body, to nourish your body, so that you can enjoy your life. So that's why I created Revitalize and Reclaim. It is a 2-day high intensive mentorship coaching that is by application only. It is free, but you have to apply. And so women see results on day one. Like when they implement day one, they immediately see results. Why? It's because you're starting to eat for your body. You're detoxing your life. You got easy strategies that you can implement to get energy back. And so this isn't just a watch and that's it. I might implement because you gave me the handouts. No, it literally is, you're telling me what strategies you're going to do before we get off the call. We're working on some things together so that when you come back on day 2, you're reporting back the results that you have. And then if something you're like, let me, how do I navigate this? Because this happens. Well, guess what? Because it is a 2-day event with coaching, I'm coaching you through how to use these strategies in your life. What would it look like for you in your life? I have women who come to me with various health issues. So what does it look like for you versus someone else, right? Same things that we're doing result-wise, but for you, it might look a little different with what's going on with your life. So this is a natural next step because it's a deep dive. Go beyond just food tracking, go beyond just journaling. You're literally knowing what your food intolerances are, getting more clear on that. What are your environmental triggers? We're going through some of the 5 rights. It is small group application only. So this is Christina, one of my past participants, and she's like, oh my gosh, you gave us all the how. She's like, I don't have to worry about, well, how am I going to do it? What's it going to look like for me? She goes, because you gave us all the how. So if you're done with webinars and workshops and challenges that give you the what and the why, but not the how, this event is for you. And then we had Maria. She's like, oh my gosh, I took so many notes. And she, on day 2, when she got back on day 2, she's like, I just implement 2 actions. And already I feel so much better. Like I'm awake, I'm not in pain. Oh my goodness, because I feel so much better. So, do you want results like this? By the way, every woman who is approved and attends gets a diet list dieting audit. We're going to work on your 30-day game plan. You can ask questions about Revitalize and Claim. We're going to go over what did you learn? What were your ahas? What are your next steps for the next 30 days when you get on the audit? So once again, seats are capped at 10. I keep this low, small, because I want to be able to give you all attention and answer all of your questions. Applications close Sunday, October 13th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So apply. If you're not accepted, don't feel bad. You just might not be at a right space point at this time. Next time I have this, you can reapply and see where your application goes. So your body's been speaking. It's time you finally start listening to it. Body's always given us feedback. It's time that you finally listened so that you can have the freedom that you want to have. So the Revitalize and Reclaim is free for first-time attendees only. So if you already attended Revitalize and Reclaim, you can come in under alumni, and that is a paid event for you as well. So if you haven't been on before, You saw what Maria and Christina experienced. A lot of women here in my academy got to experience what I do as a coach as a result of this event. So, yeah, it's time to finally start listening. So, for your action steps, continue using the day 2 journal in eating for your body food log, making those connections, what's going on with your energy, with your mood, any symptoms, your digestion, how are you feeling after you eat, and what is your biggest aha moment from today, from the workshop? What is one thing that you can do differently starting today? See, often you might think you need to make all these changes at once. But if your life is such that it's stressing you out more to think about making all these changes, what's one thing that you can do today? Just one thing. One thing that you can do today. Maybe it's, from today's lesson, maybe it's just start to look at your nutrition labels, your food labels. Maybe just look at it. Okay, then how much sugar? Maybe it's to start calculating how much sugar. Maybe it's, oh, I haven't started that food journal from day 2 yet. Maybe it's just to start doing that, right? What is one thing that you can start doing differently today to help you to get those results? So Karen says, notice how much hidden sugar is eating daily. Yeah, look at everything. And then also what I'm finding too, like sucralose is starting to become very popular in a lot of foods. Sucralose is the yellow packet. It is I can't remember, Splenda is the brand name, the yellow packet. So, however, I told you artificial sweeteners, saccharin, aspartame, sucralose, they cause inflammation and cravings. But with sucralose specifically, the yellow packet, it's back in the day when it first came out, it was like tastes like sugar because it's made with sugar. It's made from sugar, right? That's how they're able to get you to buy it. But how do they take sugar and make it calorie free? They use chlorine. It's a chlorinated process to take sugar and make it calorie free, to strip it of everything. If you have a pool, if it's not salt water, what do you use to clean your pools? For the average person, it's chlorine. Why do you put chlorine in your pool? We need to get all the junk out, clean of the bacteria. Okay, we want chlorine. Well, guess what that does to your guts? Chlorinated process, sucralose, is chlorine acts like an antibiotic and it destroys not only the bad but the good flora. Another reason why a lot of people have gut issues. Okay, not the only reason, but it is a contributing reason. So, and then don't forget, reply for Revitalize and Reclaim. You can use the QR code or the link in the chat. Everything closes, the replays, the applications for Revitalize and Reclaim close Sunday, October 13th at midnight, technically 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, but midnight's easier to do that. Let me see. Thought I had another question here. Okay. For some reason it keeps telling me. So yeah, if for those of you who have been on before and you applied today, I'll let you know if you've been on before and let you know how you can come in at that alumni rate as well. Yeah, it's only free for first-time attendees and for those who have a current program in my academy right now. All right, so that is it for today. I think I answered all the questions with that. All right, so virtual high five for hanging these past 4 days. Today's the last day of the workshop. So hopefully I will see you in Revitalize and Reclaim. Oh, you're welcome, Karen. You're welcome, JJ. Yeah, hopefully I may see you in Revitalize and Reclaim. If not, maybe at the alumni if you've already been. And that's okay. If you missed any of the prior days, you have until Sunday to catch up on the replays. The emails went out at 8 p.m. each day with the link to the replay page. So you can catch that. You can check back on your past emails or the email that's going to be coming out tonight for this replay. So virtual high five. It's been my pleasure to be with you these past 4 days.